Tony Stark has created his fair share of villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and when Black Widow hits theaters, he might be responsible for one more. What's up, Comic Book Nation? BD here with a theory which is sure to infuriate those who are tired of Iron Man working his way into every Marvel movie, especially because this theory might actually make sense by the time we're done here. While we still don't know who exactly is Taskmaster in the upcoming Black Widow movie, it seems totally possible that the character's ability to mimic the abilities of others just by watching them, which is called photographic reflexes, ends up being a product rooted in Stark tech. First, let's take a trip down memory lane, looking at how Iron Man often became a hero by defeating villains he's created. Iron Man 1, he takes down members of the Ten Rings group who want his Jericho missile and use Stark tech weapons to capture Stark in the first place. The Ten Rings are coming back in Shang-Chi, so there's already another place for Iron Man to play a role. Also Iron Man 1. Wow, we are still in the same movie. Obadiah Stane builds his Ironmonger suit, which pretty much looks like an Iron Man suit if it had been at home eating Oreos and drinking tequila through the first 7 months of 2020 like the rest of us, and it is inspired by, of course, Iron Man.
Oh, that went well.
In fact, that whole 2008 movie is kind of like the Spider-Man meeting Spider-Man gif, but somehow ended up being really good anyway. Jump ahead, Avengers Age of Ultron. Tony Stark wants to build a suit of armor around the world, and he almost destroys the world when his artificially intelligent robot named Ultron decides humans are bad and it's time to destroy everything. I mean, Ultron may have had a point, but that's besides our point in this video.
You want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve?
Jump ahead again, Spider-Man Far From Home. Mysterio is salty that Tony Stark took credit for his holographic technology and named it Barf, so he tries to lie his way into being an Avenger and even uses Stark's Edith technology to try to advance his plans. Certainly the days of Tony Stark creating MCU villains are behind us, especially because he died in Avengers Endgame, right? Bad news for you. Black Widow takes place way before Avengers Endgame, and Stark has plenty of tech floating around, while he is chilling in India doing we don't know what yet, as seen in SpiderMan Homecoming, which will operate parallel to Black Widow. I know I'm not the only one who was thinking it was oddly specific to put Stark out there in that moment, right? Maybe it will tie into Kingo with the Eternals, with Kumail Nanjiani's character being a Bollywood star? I don't know. Anyway, back to the reason he's responsible for Taskmaster. Let's look at the evidence. In Black Widow trailers, Taskmaster is seen studying Natasha's moves from Iron Man 2 and later matches her beat for beat in a fight on a bridge. He also shows off moves similar to ones we've seen elsewhere in the MCU, like from Black Panther, bow and arrow use like Hawkeye, and shield throwing like Captain America. Perhaps this is an innate ability like it is for Tony Masters in comics, or perhaps in common MCU fashion, there is a twist on the comic book character's ingredients, and the special sauce is Stark tech. Remember that fight in Captain America Civil War when Bucky and Cap unfairly tried to jump Iron Man when he was justifiably furious over the Winter Soldier killing his mother and Cap keeping that a secret? Okay, those details aren't super important, but being honest with your friends is, don't cover up your parents' murders. Hashtag Team Iron Man. Tony has Friday analyze Captain America's fight pattern down to the millisecond and ultimately uses the tech in his Iron Man suit to defeat Captain America when his suit can predict Captain America's moves. If you look at Taskmaster's mask, you will see that it has a similarly colored HUD to Iron Man's interface and a small little camera at the center of it, which is taking in all of the sights and possibly moves. That final battle between Captain America and Iron Man in Civil War takes place in Siberia, and part of Black Widow is also going to be taking place in Siberia. Coincidence? I mean, maybe. But also, maybe Taskmaster picked up some pieces of Tony Stark's helmet from that fight that were left on the ground. After all, Black Widow is taking place right after Captain America Civil War. I've said it 100 times. If it wasn't exactly Stark Tech who created the photographic reflexes for Taskmaster, what about Aldrich Killian, another villain who was more or less created by Tony Stark? Killian is obviously presumed dead after Pepper bent it like Beckham and blew him up, but let's remember, moments before that, the same extremis that is flowing through Killian is what allowed Pepper to survive a fiery fall to what would have been her death. Maybe he's out there trying to cook up some new tech quietly, still seeking revenge against Tony Stark or the Avengers. And Tony Stark is alive at this point, so he's still able to get it.
Oh my God. That was really violent.
Another option, Hammer Tech. Justin Hammer has been quiet since Iron Man 2 when he was locked up in Seagate Prison, but companies like Hammer Tech and Killian's Advanced Idea Mechanics play much bigger roles in Marvel Comics stories than they have in the MCU so far. So while Black Widow is definitely going to very much be a Black Widow story, it doesn't seem unlikely that it will be influenced in one way or another by Tony Stark with Taskmaster's abilities and suit being the prime suspect. To go even deeper, it's also possible this is somehow tied to the sale of Avengers Tower. Spider-Man Homecoming is set at a similar MCU point in time as Black Widow will be directly after the events of Civil War, and the buyer of Avengers Tower has not yet been revealed to the audience.
Tony sold Avengers Tower. We're relocating to a new facility upstate where hopefully the cell service is much worse.
Could AIM or Hammer Tech have purchased that building and found something which Happy Hogan forgot to pack up? After all, this guy might have had Aunt May on the brain when he was supposed to be flying everything to upstate New York. I don't think that's the case, but maybe. It doesn't seem too far-fetched for Tony Stark, a guy whose technology records everything.
I record everything you see.
Everything?
Everything.
And has accidentally created plenty of villains in the past who have been involved in spawning Taskmaster's abilities. After all, this lends itself to my theory of Taskmaster being a title and not an identity, so multiple people can assume the role if they're properly brainwashed or forced to do so. But that's a song for another time. Do you think Tony Stark's technology will play a part in Taskmaster's photographic reflexes for the Black Widow movie? Share your thoughts in the comments section or send them my way on Instagram at BrandonDavisBD. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications because we work hard to give you fun content. So we hope you'll watch it, enjoy, and leave your reactions below. For more, head over to Comicbook.com. I'm BD. I'll see you there.